Hey, what's up, you guys? Danny Batsalkin here. Welcome to another episode of DannyBLive. And today, you guys, I'm so excited because mortgages are all in the news, as of course you've seen. And so today we have with us Josh Oleesky. I'm so excited to have him from US Bank, and he runs a whole bunch of stuff in mortgages there. He's going to talk to us all about it. He's going to tell us what's going on with forbearances, interest rates, qualifications, jumbo loans, all the questions that you want to know. So let's go ahead and dive right in.
Let's do it.
All right, and as I went to go do my my intro video, it's not there, so we're going to skip the intro video and we're going to jump right into Josh. So let's bring Josh on the screen right now, and here we go. Hold on one second. We got all kinds of weird stuff happening. There we go. Okay, live. So there it is. Josh, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. This is fun.
Yeah, awesome. So, I'm so excited to have you here today because obviously real estate has been, one of the hot topics with the pandemic, and of course mortgages as well. So I'd love to just start out with you telling us a little bit about yourself and what you do and where you work and all that good stuff.
So I've been in banking since about 2004 or 5. I've been doing mortgages. I had a 12-year career at Wells Fargo and moved over to US Bank at the end of 2018. I came in as a district manager, building a team from the ground up as as part of my job, and also I produce. So I'm also in the trenches, doing the loans, fighting with underwriters, pushing them through, which I always think is a great tool when you have a manager that knows what he's doing, that has a big mortgage background.
Yeah, for sure, Josh, definitely. So, and I'm glad you're here talking about that because you, like you said, you actually are in the trenches. By the way, you guys, if you're watching this video today, I want to thank you for being here on the show. We are live right now with Josh. And so a couple things, you guys, if you have questions right here on YouTube, there is a chat box. You'll find it somewhere here. Type your questions in. Josh will answer them live on the air. I'll pull them in here. And if you're liking what you hear, if you're getting good value from this video, please be sure to hit the like button and give us a big thumbs up. So we already have someone who's saying hello to you, Josh, which is Lori Bartis. Give you a big thumbs up. So thanks for being here. Thanks for being here, Lori. Awesome. Well, Josh, let's just dive right in. We're in Southern California, and so one of the pressing questions that I've gotten this week is really about jumbo loans. If you could talk about, what that is, what the difference is between conventional jumbo, and then what's happening in the jumbo market, because I have heard a lot of conflicting things.
So being in our market in San Fernando Valley, West Side, jumbo is our norm. Yesterday I took an application, and it's funny because the lady asked me, one of the main points for her thing was, does anybody do jumbo anymore? The mortgage brokers don't. I've been getting tons of referrals from their fallouts, purchases that are getting killed mid-application, mid-process, which is not a good thing for guys like you and your team that do real estate on the regular basis. So do we have an appetite for jumbo? We absolutely do. Do all the banks? No, they don't. I only can speak about US Bank because I know our guidelines, and we're doing them. I mean, we can still do a 90% one loan up to $1,250,000. Unheard of right now in the market. I don't know another bank that can do it, and that is something that I've been preaching to my team. Get out there, scream from the rooftops. We can still do jumbo. The other crazy thing with jumbo in our guidelines, everything that they've rolled out has been said temporary. So I'm looking at the news this morning, as I do every morning, and you're seeing at MSNBC this morning, purchase mortgage applications rise to highest levels even before the COVID started.
Yep.
So what's going to be? Interest rates are still low, even better. US Bank's guidelines haven't changed. We can still handle everything. Yes, we're busting out at the seams, but yes, we're offering 90-day locks just to make sure we don't have to put any extra charges to the clients. But we're not needing the 90 days. We're an automated system. I don't want to do like an infomercial, but we have technology. We've got technology, and we've got technology. I mean, I've been taking applications. I just got an email from our regional manager saying, year to date, we're at the 6 billion close mark. That's unheard of for US Bank, And are we the number one biggest bank? No, we're not. But, we're closing loans on time and we're keeping our clients happy.
Josh, you mentioned something interesting that I wanted to dive into just a little bit more, because I personally, I've done some videos here on YouTube talking about the real estate market, and my thought when this started was that we were going to see a correction, and it hasn't happened. In fact, like you said, we're now above, where we were before. In fact, this past weekend, I was telling everyone, was the busiest real estate weekend I think I've ever seen. We listed a property and got 15 offers. We were out with buyers. I mean, our team is like you said, bursting at the seams. Why do you think that is?
Well, I know people have been cooped up in their house. So, and I'm not talking about houses, I'm talking about apartments, condos. And if anybody can realize, if you're spending $5,000 on a rental in Calabasas, which a lot of people do, what does that equate into mortgage dollars? And I think that's going to stimulate. People are going to go back to work. It's a little sketchy here in the Los Angeles market due to the production, due to the film industry, and they've all kind of been on hold. But everybody's going back slowly but surely, hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Now, with that being said, Josh, I want to ask you about qualifications, because what I've been hearing, and people have been worried that that it's harder to qualify. You have to put more money down. You need a higher credit score. Any truth to all that stuff?
Like I said, I can only speak about U.S. Bank, and for us, nothing's really changing. It's business as usual. The only thing that we had to change was a little cash out refi tightening due to the fear of a bubble bursting or the market tanking dramatically overnight, which we've seen in 2007 and 8. You could buy a house 100% financing, and then in 2 weeks you've lost 15%.
Right.
That happened in Nevada. That happened in parts of Arizona and Southern California. So with that said, you really, it's funny. I was going to say in the beginning, anything we talk about might be changed by the time this call is over. Guidelines are coming out daily, changing daily. The verification of employments have changed, appraisal process have changed. It's a new. This is my first podcast, live stream, and this is new. This is the way. How else am I going to meet you today? This is the only way. It's crazy.
Yep, that's right. That's for sure. And Josh, you're getting an amen to that from Brandon Mention, who's on. So thanks for joining us here, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Again, if you have questions, throw them in the chat box. I can ask Josh questions for probably 5 hours here, but we'd love to get your questions answered on the show. That's what we're doing here on DannyBLive. That's the purpose, and we're so excited to have a great guest on here. And if you're just joining us, Josh is here from U.S. Bank. We're talking mortgages. One other question for you, Josh, here from me is that what about credit? I've also heard that, you now need a higher credit score. People have credit issues because of everything that's happening. We can also talk a little bit about maybe forbearances and deferments and how that affects credit and your next mortgage. If you could touch on some of those things.
Sure. So this has been a problem. I mean, it's been in the news with some banks putting people into deferment when they didn't really need it. Now, personally, I have a mortgage. I logged on to my financial institution, not U.S. Bank, and because it was before, I joined U.S. Bank, and a pop-up came right up and said, would you consider some verbiage, would you consider putting your mortgage on a 3-month hold?
Wow.
Click here on the box. I'm like, gosh, that seems easy. I checked the box. One more screen opened up, and all I had to do was click another box, and I was in a 3-month payment freeze. Little would I have known that would have killed me. Immediately it goes onto your credit report, and if I were to be doing any purchases or refinance until I'm caught up, it wouldn't happen. So what happened? People took those deferments because they were thrown at people, and as normal would. And what ended up happening? We said, hey, if you told the bank you can't make your payments, how could we extend a new credit to you?
Sure.
So we had to come up with fast. I mean, we were on calls while the documents were changing, the memos were changing. The memo right now is, we've had people come in, apply for a mortgage, come back and say, hey, well, you're in deferment. No, I'm not. I've been making my payments. Perfect. Let me see that you've made your payments. Let's see that you're current. And now we'll be able to do those loans. But a lot of purchases got held up. it's crazy that, no one really had disclosures. No one had the system in place for this.
Right.
Who would have ever foresee any of this? So when this deferment thing came out, everybody jumped on it. Student loans. I mean, you'd be surprised, and unfortunately, any payment deferral that would freeze up our loans until you're caught up.
Wow. Yeah, and right, like because they didn't tell people, they just said, "Oh, you get this deferment or this forbearance." Click. I mean, it's as easy as checking the box. Why not? And then this is what happened. So, yeah, very interesting. We actually, Josh, did have a question going back to kind of housing prices from Masood online. And Masood was asking about market price corrections. Do we think there's going to be one? And he's talking about, he's in West LA, and he says prices are holding firm. I'm going to tell you, I'll answer this one, and then I'd love to hear, Josh, your answer as well. But on my end, on the real estate side, I haven't seen it. In fact, I've seen more of a frenzy now. I think people, like you said, are cooped up in their houses. They're coming out. They want to buy. And so we've seen activity actually go way up. We did have about a month period. I was tracking the market where we did see a lot less houses on the market, a lot less demand. But literally the last 3 weeks, it's above where it was before. So that's my take on it for you, Masood. Josh, what do you think?
Well, we're in Southern California where you can surf and ski in the same day. Encouraging nobody to come back to the office.
Right.
So what's that going to be? They're going to be getting home allowances.
Wow.
Home office allowances. They're getting a certain stipend every month for their internet, whatnot. That might also free up more affordability and some extra cash to put down on a house, especially if folks are working at home. I might go, I told you early on that I'm having some construction at my house. I'm for sure going to be building a little bit better office. It's just a place where I can tell you I'm going to be doing a lot more work at home, especially with this digital platform. Why not? So I think people are going to be buying more homes, single family homes versus the condos or townhouses.
Yeah, Josh, I totally agree. I do see that trend kind of really now happening. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people who have said, I asked them, when are you going back to the office? And they're like, we're really not. Like, we're just going to work, we're going to continue to work from home. So I agree. I think people are going to be putting more money into their home offices and stuff like that. Hey, look, I set up this whole studio now to do these live streams because this is kind of how we're doing them.
Yeah, but this is the new.
Yeah.
I'm a part of the business development board here at US Bank, and this week we did. This was my project, and we did a virtual financial literacy for the Junior Achievement Program in Hollywood for kids, because no one really teaches financial literacy. Mm-hmm. So what did we have to do? We had to do a 5-minute clip of our job history, how we got there, and then talk about either savings, check. We had all these different topics. People came out of their shell, and you would be surprised with the technology we have in iMovie and iPads. They put together such high production values. I had a guy putting animated checkbooks flying behind his head, and this is the new.
Wow.
And when I pitched it to the team, I said, guys, come try, practice. At least you got a kids audience versus a room of real estate agents. Why not?
That is awesome. That's so cool. In fact, it's interesting you say that. So during this quarantine, the kids have been in, as yours probably, with this virtual school and all that. And I was like, man, they're just not giving them enough stuff. So I started giving them like these weekly projects to do for the family. And actually, one of them you're going to love is I said to them, okay, here's what I want to do this summer. Since we had a cruise planned and we couldn't do the cruise, it got canceled. So I was like, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to rent an RV and we're going to go on a trip. So I want you guys to do the research and like plan the whole thing out. How much is it going to cost? Give us an itinerary. And it was awesome, man. They like drew out this whole, now they got super aggressive. They drew out like a route around the whole Western United States.
You're talking my language. That's amazing.
Yeah, and Elena was like,
in between Fortnite,
Totally. And by the way, Elena was like, yeah, I'm not driving that far. Like, do something a little bit closer. So on that note, actually, let's talk about vacations a little bit, because I know you're a big RV guy. Guys, if you follow Josh on Instagram or social media, Facebook, you'll see all his pictures of all his vacations. So let's talk about that a little bit. I'd love to do that. How'd you get into RVing, and tell us a little bit about those trips?
So, it's funny. Growing up south of the Boulevard, Jewish boy, and Sherman Oaks. My parents, camping to them was the Hilton.
Right.
We never went camping. When growing up, We had a influencer in our life, a history teacher that took us camping, all three kids, and we started loving it. And my dad and my mom are like, "What's wrong with you people? You could, live in our nice house. Why would you want to go sleep outside?" So that's how it all started. When I started having children, I told my wife, I'm like, "I can't wait. I have two boys. This is a dream come true. I get to go camping with them." So first we went in a tent, and I'll never forget mid sleep, I'm like, why am I doing this? I can afford to buy something a little bit better than this. Why am I sleeping on the floor? So I went back. I said to my wife, "Hey, we love camping, but I got to get something a little bit better." And she's like, "Well, don't spend a boatload of money. Let's just see what you got." So what did I do? I bought a little pop-up trailer. I remember I bought it for $1,000. Went out, picked it up. Things were falling off of it on the way home, had to fix it up. I put new floor, and we used the heck out of it. And used it so much that I'm like, you know what? Let me upgrade. So we upgraded to another pop-up. Loved it so much. Then I'm like, you know what? This is becoming a real deal thing. I bought a pop-up, and that's one of those things you got to crank, kind of a pain in the butt. But this thing had everything on it, everything you could want, except for a refrigerator. It was broken. So long story short, I upgraded that, and 10 years later, we are camping all the time, mostly beach camping. We love camping by the beach. We haven't gone that far and ventured to Arizona or Nevada or even Northern California. We really have just stayed local. Mammoth is pretty far, but we love it. My kids, it is just, they can forget about video games. They forget about everything. I don't have phone coverage. It's an amazing time.
I love it. Folks, if you're in Southern California and you're watching this, Josh, give everyone your top destination if they want to go on like their first camping trip.
I would say Leo Carrillo. And why Leo Carrillo? It's just right outside of Malibu. And if your kids get scared in the middle of the night or they need to go home, you're 30 minutes from your house, which has happened to some of my friends that have said, "Oh, let's go camping." Right past the campfire, "Daddy, I'm scared. We're leaving." All right, cool.
That's funny. That's awesome. Well, we're going to go. So, Elena, if you're watching that, you see how awesome that is. And we do have some questions coming up. See, now we started talking about camping, and everyone starts throwing in their questions. But I will tell you this funny story. So, the way we started, I got a Jeep Wrangler, and so we've been going off-roading and stuff. And last summer, there was a Jeep event up in Pismo Beach in the dunes. And it's a camping thing. And so we did what you did the first time, which is we brought a tent, spent the night, and Elena, who's watching the show, was like, "Never again. Like, am I doing that?"
I knew it was never again when I had to put the tent away.
That's right.
That's when when I'm sitting there and I'm rolling it up, trying to put it in this bag that is half the size that it should be.
Yeah.
And that's where I said I need to spend some more money and buy something that I don't have to put this tent in this bag.
Totally. I love it. By the way, you guys, I wanted to let you know that all of Josh's contact information is going to be down in the comments to this YouTube video. So after the video is over, you can check that out and reach out to Josh. As he mentioned at the beginning of the show, he not only oversees mortgage loan officers, but he does them himself. So he's in the trenches. You can chat with him outside of the show, or you can put your comments in there. You can also throw them in the chat box. All right, Josh, let's get back to questions because you got a lot of fans, man, and everyone's asking questions.
All right.
If you're watching this, throw your questions in the chat box and give us a thumbs up so we know you like what you're seeing. All right, so let's get back to the questions. Next question comes from Michael, who's a real estate agent, and Michael asks you, when are non-QA loans coming back? So first of all, tell everyone what a non-QA loan is, and then let us know when they're coming back.
So a non-QM mortgage is, it stands for qualified mortgage. And, for us at US Bank, we have them all day long. We have IO. We have ARMs and things that would classify them into high debt to income ratios. We make exceptions. So non-QM, for us, we do them. I can't speak on others, but I know brokers and other banks are not doing them and continuing it, but we are continuing that product.
Awesome. And Josh, does that apply also? Because I know obviously in high-end markets like Southern California, and for our folks who are watching this across the country, kind of higher end stuff, a lot of people are self-employed. Maybe they want to put less money down. Maybe they have business bank statements. Is that all in that kind of non-QM? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, the bank statement loans, U.S. Bank and the big banks never really did.
Okay.
Those were mostly the creative boutique broker shops handling those. We are your full doc. If you fit in our box, you're going to get the benefit of fitting in that box. I mean, our interest rates on purchases are aggressive. It's very rare. We get reporting, current rates from all of our competitors, and we're right there. So you could get offered 2, 3. I always say this: you can get offered 2%, but if they don't close your loan, it doesn't mean anything. So we are closing loans. Our system is working. Getting approved. So go back to Michael's question. I would suggest, just for any of your clients, you send them to me prior to taking them out in the car, and before you start showing properties, and let me go through the whole process with them. We can still submit into underwriting if we need to get exceptions by a human being. And there's no cost involved for that pre-approval process. And it's more than a pre-approval. It's mostly a loan commitment. We just have to find a property and clear title and what else is involved with property related insurance. But to get all that stuff done ahead of time, that is a big benefit. I also tend to have a habit of calling the other side when we're making offers, let them know that I put them through the rigorous underwrite process. And I mean rigorous because it is. There's no surprise. There's no easy way through it. Setting the expectations up front that it's hard, and just carry on with it.
By the way, Josh, that's a really good point I wanted to mention. So, obviously, like when people are getting loans, you can go online and you can find all these interesting things and brokers. I actually mentioned a listing we just put on the market, someone on our team, and we got 15 offers on this listing, and we started pulling up the loan pre-approval letters. And it was literally like, the letterhead was like, a picture drawn by someone on a 5-year-old, or it's crooked and it's, ABC Mortgage out of, Van Nuys P.O. Box and stuff like that. And so for our real estate agent friends that are watching this, if you could just cover the difference between some of these brokers and all these people you've never heard of, and then going with a big name brand like a U.S. Bank.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. But
how was that for a leading question, by the way?
It was best. It's the best. Going through this process ahead of time will save everybody not just time, aggravation, but it'll save your clients money. A lot of these guys go to their I had another one this week. The agent was trying to push him to me because she knows we'll get it done, and the pre-approval was similar to what you just explained. And I get the guy on the phone, and I'm like, I got your number, blah blah blah. He said, my relative is doing the loan. And I said, okay, but why don't you just give me a shot? Maybe I could save you money. It's nothing personal with your cousin. Let me try to save you money. He's like, no, relative. And I called the agent back. I said, more power to you. Good luck. And she didn't want to take him out. She goes, I don't want to waste my time. So that's an assurance that we can offer. I know some of the other banks do it, but when we put our name behind that, I think our reputation speaks for itself. We're never in the news. We never have any bad issues, and we get the deal done.
Yeah, for sure. And, for our real estate agent friends who are watching this, I will say, I just think that when you're putting in an offer, I'm going to go on the real estate side a little bit, or if you're a buyer, okay? When you're putting in an offer, I will tell you as a listing agent that who your pre-approval is from makes a huge difference. So when I have a listing and I see a U.S. bank pre-approval, and Josh calls me and says, hey, these buyers are good to go, I will tell you, we've accepted offers that are lower priced that have that versus a higher priced offer with, Jim's Mortgage on the letterhead. So going off on a little bit of a tangent, but that's, I think that's super important. All right, Josh, you got lots of questions. So Allie is watching, and Allie asks us, Josh, or asks you, what's the threshold to consider a refinance right now? I think what she means is the threshold difference, right, in rate?
Yeah, it comes down to APR change for the benefit to borrower, and it's really a system-generated decision. How I determine, and when I'm working with the client, what we do is we take the cost involved, and we take the monthly savings, and we divide it. And that'll tell you how many months of savings, how much months it'll take to break even for those costs. So if there's a no-cost option, and you're saving 0.25%, that's a great deal, because it costs you nothing. Yes, you re-amortize over the next 30 years. So it's kind of misleading that you're getting a lower payment. However, if you continue to pay what you're paying now, I can also show you how much faster that 30 years will be sped up. For example, if your payment is now $2,000, you refinance, and I can drop your payment by 0.5% on rate and $500 in payment. You continue to pay that $2,000. What are you going to get? You're going to end up probably getting a 19 or 22 year loan, give or take.
Yeah, I love it. Those are great comments. By the way, Allie did say, and I'll put this up on the screen as well, which is kind of interesting. She didn't name names, but she said that her old bank told her that they had too many loans in the system and they already had a low enough interest rate, so not to even bother with a refi.
Well, would you like my phone number? Yeah, listen, I mean, at one point, U.S. Bank said, hey, we had to put our brakes on. We'd rather give you a level of service than not. So did we raise interest rates during the peak just to slow down volume? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Did we lie about it? Did our management, senior leaders say anything but the truth? That's all they did. They told us the truth. They said, hey, we're busting out of our seams.
Right.
We don't want the clients to be upset. We're going to slow down the flow. Fortunately, it didn't help. We continued to originate and still do well.
Yeah, awesome questions, by the way, you guys. Keep them coming. Thank you so much for all these questions. Allie, those are awesome questions. And Allie, tell your husband to get back on the Peloton. So listen to this, Josh. Allie's husband is in our little Peloton accountability group, 7:30 a.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But I haven't heard from him in like a week. He's totally dropped off.
Uh-oh.
So Allie, get Dennis back on there. But Allie did say, thanks, Josh, by the way. And
Thank
so,
you.
Allie, you can reach out to Josh. We'll put his contact info on here for you. Josh, Elena had a comment, which was, nice haircut. I think she's talking to me, but I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, it's definitely not. I mean, this is the stash here is new. My kids, I let my beard go, and then I said, leave the mustache. So now I have this mustache. And with
I love
the mask,
it.
You can't even see it.
I think it looks great. I think it looks awesome, man.
Country.
I love it.
Country.
On a serious note, Elena did have a cool question, which is this. What about home equity lines? What's going on there? Elena says she has a lot of clients that want to invest and take cash out to do home improvements, stuff like that. You touched on it a little bit earlier, but let's dive a little more into that question.
So home equity lines of credit, in case you guys don't know what that is, it's a revolving line of credit attached to your home. So it's securitized by your real property. However, it's like a credit card. So during the construction phase, it's a great tool. Why? If you need money for the construction, would you want to just take out a gigantic lump sum to do the repairs and start paying interest on that whole sum immediately? Or would you like to just have a home equity line of credit attached to your home where you pay as you go? So as you're cutting checks to contractors, that's when your interest starts paying on that money versus a traditional refinance. Now, is a home equity line of credit a permanent thing? Absolutely not. It's a Band-Aid. It's a way to give you the money in a revolving type of way, and that is a great tool, but you're going to want to consolidate them into a fixed rate mortgage, which means taking that second, which is revolving, and a variable, and put it into a fixed rate loan eventually.
Yeah, very cool. That makes sense. Yeah,
so
perfect.
We at US Bank are doing these home equity lines of credits. Okay. I know a few of the banks, the big banks, pulled that product.
Right.
I think I'm sure as you heard, that has shrunken up, and that's what usually happens. Anytime there's a fear or scare or bubble possible, first things that go, cash out refinances.
Right.
Whether it's a equity line or just simply cash out. I know some of the other banks pulled that product completely.
Yep.
It's a very volatile, crazy time.
Yeah, I heard the same thing. So great to hear that you guys are doing them. Again, you guys, we have a lot of people jumping on right now. Maybe 9:30 is the magic time. So if you're watching us, we got Josh Oleesky from US Bank on talking mortgages and all things related to mortgages. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for the questions. You could throw your questions in the chat box, wherever that is here on YouTube, and give us a big thumbs up. Tell us you like what we're doing here. And if you like this kind of content, you guys, by the way, self-serving plug here, every Thursday, DannyBLive, 9 a.m., interviewing superstars, in their fields. And Josh, so happy to have you here today.
Stop it.
We got another question for you that came actually offline this week, and that is, there's a lot of people that have been downsizing, a lot of, our older clients and people that are downsizing from homes to condos and stuff like that. And one of my clients actually got offered an interesting product. They sold their house. They had all this cash. They want to buy a condo, and their financial advisor, where they had the cash, said you should just do an asset-based loan, which I hadn't really seen too much of. What are your thoughts on that kind of thing? Like, they were asking, should we just pay cash for the condo, or should we do this kind of asset-based thing, keep the cash, use the loan to buy the condo?
It's if they're doing a securitized against their assets, what some banks call prime lines.
Yep.
You take it's like a loan against your 401k. It all depends on how their assets are going to be handled. And the financial advisor could say, hey, if I'm going to make 5% on your assets under management, and I could do a mortgage for you at 2%. Why not do it? And that's where, especially a retiree, if they're not looking for a 30-year fixed and looking to pay off if they're in a certain age group, and they just want a lower payment, that might be the best way to do it. If they're getting a good return on their investment. Otherwise, that's going to be to each his own, and their tax preparer or CPA to give them that advice.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a good answer. Yeah, we've been getting a lot of kind of interesting questions that I may not have seen before. And since we did touch a little bit earlier on interest rates, I know we haven't talked about that too much. I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Obviously they're extremely low. Just wanted to get your thoughts on what's going to happen to rates, and what should people be thinking about in terms of the rates right now.
Well, right now it's remained very, very low. I was, purchases. I'm disclaimer on approved credit on the right day with the win. Purchases were 3.25% with some closing costs being paid, depending on one loan product. Refinances, I saw a 15-year refinance yesterday at U.S. Bank at 2.875, paying the majority of the closing cost in the conforming loan space. So I think rates are going to remain low. Plus, they always say election year rates tend to be low. Nobody wants to raise rates, and during the instability of the elections and what's happening in the world.
Yeah, it makes sense. And Josh, what I've been telling, because we've been getting a lot of questions from buyers, like, should I buy now or should I wait? If we think the market's going to go down. And I always tell them, like, look, first of all, it's all about your time horizon. If you're going to buy something for 10 years and you think the market's going to correct, 5%, but the rates go up, you're better off locking in that awesome rate right now and taking advantage, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I have that conversation every day with my team and help get that out to the front lines. If someone says it's a good time to buy real estate, I say it's always a good time.
Yep.
Even in the peaks, it's always in the good time. It will always appreciate. When I was in the diamond business growing up, that was my family's business. And when they'd walk into the store and they say, "What's the birthstone for August?" Diamond. What's the birthstone for November? Diamond. My dad would just say it every time. Diamond. Every diamond's the birthstone. Same thing with real estate. Is it a good time to buy? Absolutely. Is it a good time to buy a condo? Different views on that. As if you look at the numbers and appreciation and depreciation on condominiums, different than single families. But I think we're going to remain low. That's my personal opinion throughout the year, and ride it through.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's great information. And you guys, if you're watching this, obviously, I think that's great advice. Like, real estate, it's an asset that if you're going to stay in that for a long time, I've put up charts and graphs and shown everyone over the last month how, real estate over any 5, 6, 7 year period always appreciates. Even when you have a huge decrease like in 07, 08, 6 years later, we're back up higher than we were. So there you have it. By the way, Josh, Debbie Garner says great info. Thank you, Josh and Danny. So Debbie, thanks for tuning in to the show and checking it out. So Josh, this is such great information about mortgages and loans and credit and really everything that everyone needs to know about what's going on. You did mention earlier employment verifications. I wanted to touch on that real quick because obviously a lot of people have been furloughed or hours decreased and jobs changed and things like that. Can you talk a little bit about like how that changes their qualifications and what they should be watching out for and what they should know?
So almost the same as before. You need to be employed. You need to be, if you're self-employed, you need to have business happening right now. We have a new guideline that we can ask for the business bank statements to show transaction history to show that the business is still viable. I have had people that mid process got laid off. Unfortunately, we have to verify employment within now 5 days. So this is something that recently changed. 5 days of the note date. So that is a pretty tight margin of when we draw docs and we draw the note that we have to verify employment. Same thing with self-employed. We got to make sure within 5 days of the note date that A, they're still in business, and B, that they're conducting business. So it's a tricky time, but we have another deal that the person got the notice that they're going to be allowed to come back June 1st. So can we take that loan out today? Absolutely.
Okay.
Underwriters said for sure. So if you're being furloughed and you're nervous that you couldn't get a loan, but you got the green light that you're coming back June 1st or June 15th, whatever it is, we can move forward because within 5 days of that note date, we're going to know that you are going back, you are employed.
Awesome. I love that. Good stuff. Well, Josh, such great information for our listeners. And, by the way, we have, as far as the people watching, I know we typically have obviously buyers and sellers and consumers. We also have real estate agents watching, and we're going to switch gears in just a minute. But before we do, I just wanted to see if you had any kind of additional information, maybe something we haven't talked about or touched on that you wanted to share with, either buyers or sellers or owners of real estate out there that you really feel like they should know about mortgages and about what you do.
Yeah, all I can say is the basic stuff. If you're planning on buying something, talk to your mortgage guy ahead of time. I see people moving money, selling stocks, transferring, taking their shoebox full of cash, depositing it, transferring money through Zelle. Please call the mortgage person call myself, and I'll guide you through how to be organized and possibly save up for the next purchase. I can help you with that. That is what we do. And at US Bank, we cover all bases. So for example, like, a free and clear home, and they want to buy something, but they don't want to sell before. US Bank has a bridge loan, not in my department, in the private bank, and they'll do a bridge loan for them if there's a free and clear house and they need the cash, and they can do it fast. So back to your secured loan. That's something that I don't know another bank that still does bridge loans. So all I can say is, in closing, is get prepared, work with your mortgage person, even your real estate agents listening. If you've got clients, I know it's an aggressive time. I know you want to get that offer in, but it's a pie on all of our faces if we jump the gun and don't do it properly. So send them to me ahead of time, be prepared, and I'll be happy to help your clients out.
I love that, Josh. Thanks so much for that advice, for sure. We're getting lots of thumbs up on that, so keep the thumbs up coming. We love that. And if you have any more questions, we're still live here with Josh from US Bank. He'll talk all about mortgages and answer questions that you have. I wanted to, Josh, take a minute and talk about the business side, because one of the really missions of mine on this YouTube channel is to help real estate agents and other professionals build a business that's predictable, that's profitable, that's fun. And so if we switch gears just a little bit onto the business side, I know you oversee a lot of mortgage brokers, or lenders, I should say, loan officers. And that business is very similar to being a real estate agent. And so I wanted to ask you kind of, what do you see as the biggest difference between your mortgage officers who do really well and then maybe the ones who are just getting by?
I always do this reference in my sales meetings. We're kind of like a franchise at US Bank. We give you a laptop. What you do with that laptop is up to you. So I always say it's my dry cleaner. So here's my dry cleaner right on my desk. and it's open for business right now. If I close my laptop or I lock the door of my dry cleaner, I'm not going to be doing business. So, the difference between the two people of successful and unsuccessful is their dry cleaner's closed. They wake up at 10. They think loans are just going to land in their lap. They go to bank branches and, hope for the business, pray and hope that they're going to get a deal that walks in. It's not like that anymore. Now we have to climb that tree, find that branch, find that little piece of fruit, reach out, fight 9 other lenders to get it, and then take it down and get the process going with that, where all the other sharks trying to mislead clients and give them smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Josh, question for you on the business side, because, I talk to real estate agents all day about this, but on the lending side, I'm curious, how do you guys differentiate yourself as a loan officer, right? Because, a lot of people will go online and they'll go, oh, so-and-so has a better rate, and, why should I work with you and stuff like that. So what do loan officers need to do to differentiate themselves and show their value to a client?
So we call it water cooler talk. There's always going to be water cooler talk. It's like in the LA Times every Sunday, you see that whole page of rates that are, I pray for them. They're offering you 1.99 crazy rates, but then if you look at the fine print, it's not what it says it is. I personally can only speak for US Bank, but someone's coming to me how to differentiate between us. We're going to get the deal done. I'm going to keep you every milestone that happens. I'm going to let you know exactly when the appraisal's ordered, when the appraisal's coming back, when we have loan approval, when docs are going out. I let all parties know. I went up against Quicken this week, and she couldn't reach the person more than once. So that personal, local service on a purchase to me is so valuable. Because who are you going to call when there's things that come up? And things always come up. I have a perfect borrower, perfect everything. HOA is dragging their feet. Mm-hmm. I have everything perfect. Escrow, HOA's working. Then I have the solar company dragging their feet. Uh-huh. So there's always something on every, or the buyer is just crazy. It just happens. So there's always something that goes wrong on these transactions. But how you get in front of it, how to be proactive. I always say I want to prevent the murder from happening. I don't want to watch it on the news. So I want to be as proactive as possible and make sure we dot every I and cross every T possible.
I love that. And, I couldn't agree more with you, Josh. I think, similar to real estate, I mean, we want to make sure that we provide that value and really show what makes us different on the real estate agent side. And it's the same thing with you guys. I mean, and like I said earlier in the show, for those of you who caught us a little bit late, when you're working with a lender, here's my plug for you guys, Josh, is that when you submit an offer, the listing agent not only looks at your price, but is looking at who you're working with on the lending side. So if you're financed by, Jim's Mortgage out of his garage in Panorama City, you're going to have issues getting that deal done. And so that's why it's so important to have a pre-approval. And Josh, one of the things you said earlier, I think is a huge differentiating factor, which is that you're going to call the other side, and tell them how great your client is.
And you know what I get? You know what type of reaction I get that? No one's ever done this.
Right.
Anybody that's on this live stream that's worked for me previously, I've been saying this since day one. You get a residential purchase agreement, you get a whole nother side of business possibilities. Right. I call that other side. I tell them what I do. I'll tell them, hey, if I do this and this and this at this time, can I get business from you? You got to just always remember to ask for the business at the end of the conversation. And that's how my business grows. That's how any business grows. Yeah, so important. Well, I mean, Josh, look, I'll tell you this. I mentioned this story earlier. It's just so fresh in my head because we're going through it right now. We have a property that agent on our team listed, got 15 offers. Do you know how many of the mortgage brokers called us? There you go. Yep. We did it at the same time. 0. Yeah, we didn't get any calls. So no one's doing that. And how much? Listen, if I would have called you and said, Jane Smith, I already put her through the rigorous underwriting process. This is pretty much a blank check with your seller's name on it. I just need an appraisal and title, and we're good to go. For sure that would sway you into a different direction when you're presenting it to your seller. I spoke to the lender.
I'm telling you right now, and I tell our agents this, I tell our clients this, that like if I got that call, even if that offer was a little bit lower in terms of price, I guarantee you I would have told my seller, listen, this is an offer you strongly want to consider, even though it might be $5,000 less, because we know they're going to get that deal done. We have a lender that's proactive, right? Huge difference. Same thing with agents, by the way. You know how many of those real estate agents called? We have 2 listing agents on there. No one called me to talk about their client. Like no one did anything special. Just throwing in RPAs, right? So it's crazy.
Yeah. And if you see like old school agents, the successful ones, everyone has a write-up. Everyone, I've seen pictures, I've seen family photos, the pets, everything. Make it more personal. Spend the time.
Totally.
Do the service. Do the service.
Totally agree. By the way, Josh, Peter Boyajian says hello to you. What's up, Josh?
Mr. Peter. How are you, Peter?
So, Peter, thanks for being here, and thanks for watching. Well, Josh, we've talked a lot about mortgages. And we've talked about business. Let's now switch gears one more time and do what I love to do on this show, which is my lightning round of questions. We're going to give you a little party noise first. Where's the party noise? What happened to it? I don't know. Nothing's working today. We got all kinds of tech issues. But anyway, we're going to do our lightning round of questions. And the whole goal of this, Josh, is for people to get to know you a little more personally, see what makes you tick, and see about your passions and stuff like that. So the caveat here is I have not set you up. I didn't give you these questions ahead of time, right?
Yep, I have no idea what you're about to ask me.
All right, so here we go. The rules are really, there are no rules. You can say whatever comes to mind. You can explain it. You cannot explain it. Whatever you want. We just want people to get to know you and really kind of see what makes you tick personally so they can see what's behind all the success. All right, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's
All right, here we go. Question number 1 is, I should have done a drum roll or something. I don't know. These sound effects aren't working today. Anyway, question number 1, Josh, is what is your superpower?
Making people laugh.
I love it. Good stuff.
He's laughing now.
I am. There you go. Hey, when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a diamond dealer.
That's right. And you said early on that's what you were doing, right? Did you see?
Yeah,
we just watched that movie with Adam Sandler.
I couldn't watch it. Like I started it, Hidden Gems, I couldn't do it. But it's accurate. Because that's the anxiety and the pressure of being a diamond dealer. I don't know if it was just me, but I couldn't finish it. It was a waste because we rented it.
I'm actually with you. I did not I love Adam Sandler. I think he did a great job, but the movie just something about it was weird and I just couldn't really get into it. We did watch the whole thing, but it wasn't an enjoyable 2 hours.
Totally. It was not. I had an anxiety attack from the first second he was in his office. I couldn't take it.
That's right. Hey, by the way, what we're gonna do is we're gonna time out on the lightning round because we do have one final question here from our audience. Actually, as someone who knows you, Brandon is asking, does your bank have a film financing department?
Brandon, ask me directly offline. I could dive into it.
All right,
I'll
there you go.
have to take that one away. Thank you.
All right, back to the lightning round. So, okay, so when you were a kid, we asked you that one. Next one, what profession other than your own would you like to attempt right now?
What profession I would like to be in today? I would say a film director.
Oh, there we go. We just talked about film financing. Maybe you and Brandon could get together and make a movie.
Absolutely. I think that's a great creative, fun thing to do.
Perfect. All right. Make sure you cast me as in some part in the movie. Something.
100%.
And you know what? Lori said true story. I don't know if she's talking about Uncut Gems or not, but that was a crazy movie. All right.
Yeah.
Here we go. What's your favorite restaurant or type of food?
Sushi.
All right.
I would say sugarfish is probably my number one.
Next time you go, call Elena because I'm not a sushi fan and she loves sushi, so she'll join you.
If I would have known you weren't a sushi guy, I don't know if I would have accepted this invitation. That's a prerequisite. I mean, I can't believe it.
I'm a Mastro's Steakhouse guy.
I love it. I think you did takeout Mastro's for a birthday or something.
Twice. Right? We've done it twice. Yeah, and they just reopened the dining room in Thousand Oaks, so I think we're going this Saturday.
Beautiful.
Okay. Who's your favorite musician or type of music?
I would say, and this is going to date me, but I would say either Neil Diamond or Pearl Jam.
I love it. Two good ones. Beautiful.
Yes.
Okay. This is my favorite question of the lightning round. what car best embodies your personality?
I would say not a Hummer, but what's that big one like Arnold Schwarzenegger has?
He had the Hummer.
Giant,
He had the H2 or whatever.
Big Hummer.
Yeah.
The big, not an H2, not the little one, not like the Las Vegas mom car.
Oh, the
I'm
H1.
talking about the big monster one that can go anywhere. I would say that. It's like a diesel. It always goes, and it can go anywhere, and it's adventurous, and and it's reliable.
Perfect. I love it. What natural gift that you don't have would you most like to possess?
What gift? I would say mind reader.
Ooh, that's a good one. Although I don't know.
Yeah, that's true too. But I think mind reader. I think that would be my pick.
I love it. You're getting a lot of thumbs up for that one, by the way.
Yeah. I knew that. No, I'm just kidding.
And then actually, Josh, last question here is, obviously if you guys have been watching the show as I have, you can tell that Josh is super passionate about what he does. But I want to ask you directly, what makes you so passionate about what you do?
I think it has to do with your upbringing and that you just care. And it's almost a double-edged sword for me because I care so much that sometimes I can't let it go at the end of the night, meaning if a customer goes to bed upset, I'm upset. If something goes wrong, I take it very personal and to the heart where it affects, my home life. I've had to really work on myself to separate work and balance it. But I think that is my biggest thing, that you have to care. You can't train it. I can't teach it in a class. I can't do it in seminars. If you don't care, you can't be successful, So I think that is the biggest trait is just I truly care, and I want everybody to be happy.
And I think, Josh, I'll tell you that as a client, let's say listening to this, you can tell. I mean, you could tell you care. You could tell you're so passionate about it. And I think actually back to the question about differentiating yourself, I think that's one of the biggest differentiating factors. I want to work with someone who cares and who's passionate and who's into it, who's not just doing loans because they heard that you can get make a lot of money, right?
Yeah. And that's it. It's just a matter of purely and you know what, US Bank, since I've been here only a short amount of time, almost everybody that I've had any interaction at the company cares. It's like a company, an organization of people that just purely care. It's a really great place to work.
That's awesome, man. Very, very cool. Well, you guys don't go anywhere, by the way, because after this, I have a cool special announcement for you. But before we do that, Josh, as we kind of wrap up our talk, and I want to thank you so much. You've given us so much great information, about mortgages and everything having to do with that. And you guys, if you've been watching, you know that Josh cares so much, and we're going to throw your contact information, as I mentioned, down in the description. So reach out, even if you don't want to buy now and you want to get ready to buy down in the future, or if you're a real estate agent and you need someone to help you with that, please reach out to Josh for that. As we wrap up our talk, Josh, just want to ask you again, do you have any parting words either for our buyers or for loan officers or real estate agents, anything you want to share that maybe we haven't touched on yet?
Just communication is key. Any news is good news. You need to inform all parties of the milestones. I'm not talking about an email. I'm talking about old school phone. Even a text is better than an email. They say 78% of people respond to text. 30% respond to email. So text or pick up the phone and just be in contact. That's all I can say. That's all sides, all aspects. Just be in touch.
So important. Well, Josh, I want to thank you so much on behalf of all of our listeners and you guys that have asked questions. Thank you
guys.
This has been fantastic. Awesome talk here today on DannyBLive. So, Josh, thanks so much for being here, and I'll look forward to chatting with you soon. But you guys don't go anywhere. I got a cool announcement for you in just a second. By the way, we did have one final comment here from Claire, who says that mind reading would be great.
All right, guys. Thank you again for all the great questions, and we'll talk to you soon, Danny.
All right. Thanks so much, Josh. Hey, you guys. So that was awesome. I got to say, I'm so excited to have someone of Josh's caliber on the show here. I hope you got a ton out of that. And I actually have a really cool announcement for you today. As you know, on our YouTube channel here, Our goal is, first of all, to talk about real estate, business, finance, help you make great decisions in those areas. And also, if you're a real estate agent or a lender or a business person or you're self-employed, my goal is to help you create a business that's predictable, that's profitable, and that's fun. And I coach real estate agents and lenders and entrepreneurs and self-employed people in all of those things. And so what I want to invite you to do is right here on the YouTube channel, I recently went through the process of getting a new laptop. Josh talked about actually that your laptop is your business. And I thought, let's have some fun and let's make a video out of it. And so what we did is we did just that. And we did a MacBook Pro 16-inch review, unboxing, talk about all the good stuff about it, how it's helped me. And I did a little speed test to show the difference between my new computer and my old MacBook Air. So that video actually just released on the YouTube channel. We just made it live right now. So if you're watching the show, click the link below in the description, in the comments, and check out that video. I think you'll really like it. If you're thinking of getting a new computer, I'm going to answer the question, is this the best laptop ever? So check that out. I really invite you to do that. I think you'll like that video. By the way, co-starring in that video is my 10-year-old daughter, Lila, and she makes her on-screen camera appearance. So I think you guys will really like that. Anyway, we do this show every Thursday, 9 a.m., Please join us for DannyBLive right here on the YouTube channel. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today, and I will talk to you soon and on the next video. Thanks, you guys. I'll see you soon, and thank you again, Josh, for being on the show.